Weston Wam's Sabrena Smedley and Matt Hullander are all vying for Hamilton County's mayoral position. A top concern for the next mayor will be continued pandemic responses. So we asked what they are and are not willing to do as COVID cases rise.
I want to publicly announce that I will be running to be the next mayor of Hamilton County.
Hamilton County will have a new mayor next year, and a new variant is also on the rise.
It makes me, just want to reach out to folks and tell them that COVID is still here. It's very rampant, and to please not to let your guard down.
A U.S. Department of Health report found that Tennessee has the 4th highest COVID death rate. And with the Omicron variant's recent appearance in the county, we asked candidates how they would deal with the spike.
So there's a lot of damage, collateral damage, I think, in reflexive policy, trying to do the right thing without even knowing whether it's a productive exercise.
We asked all 3 candidates if they would consider a return to previous restrictions, such as seating capacities in restaurants, mask mandates like Mayor Coppinger previously put in place, and vaccine requirements for county employees. Both candidates say that they are opposed to all mandates, even if the numbers climb back to previous highs.
Because I don't think mandates long-term actually build trust in public health. I think they undermine trust.
But I am not going to be rolling out any mandates of any sort at all.
Today, we showed both candidates a report from Tennessee's Department of Health, showing a 39% increase in COVID cases and 10% increase in hospitalizations. And 99% of new cases are amongst the unvaccinated.
I very much respect that individuals need to take every precaution they feel they should take.
Both candidates remain firm in their belief in personal choices, but there are disagreements on the placement of protocols.
We need to make sure that students are spaced apart, and especially at events where there's, ball games and stuff like that.
Now that you have a vaccine, I just don't understand how you could look at COVID across the board the same way. We have vaccines that virtually prevent hospitalization and death.
Now, we also reached out to candidate Matt Hullander, and he provided us with a statement. While he didn't give us specific answers on whether he would consider mandates, he did say that he will look towards professionals in the community to guide his decisions on addressing the pandemic.
TSA says they expect to screen nearly 30 million travelers in the next 2 weeks, including those here at the Chattanooga airport.
It was pretty crowded.
More people are traveling than usual with Christmas just days away. But the World Health Organization is suggesting that people skip Christmas celebrations this year.
But an event canceled is better than a life canceled. It's better to cancel now and celebrate later than to celebrate now and grieve later.
There are still millions of COVID cases across the nation, and according to the CDC, the new Omicron variant is now the most common variant. Chattanooga resident Lydia Bohannon flew back home from college on Monday and says she still wants to be with her family.
The holidays are a big deal to me, so I think you should still go home, see your family.
Her family has even had a personal tragedy with COVID.
Less than a month ago, my uncle actually got COVID and passed away, so we're still, it's a hard time for all of us, but I think family, it's really important to be together regardless.
But some safety concerns extend beyond COVID. Dr. Anthony Fauci suggests we continue taking certain precautions.
Are we going to get to the point where we won't have to wear masks on airplanes?
I don't think so. I think when you're dealing with a closed space, even though the filtration is good, that you want to go that extra step.
Andrew McLaren travels a lot for work and says he agrees with Fauci.
I think it's a good idea because when I was flying back from San Francisco about a month ago, the guy behind me was just coughing up a storm. So if he didn't have his mask on, then it would have been a big problem.
And he says he doesn't have a choice.
But for those of us that travel, we want to keep making money, supporting our families. We got to do what we got to do.
But others don't feel like masks make a big difference.
Personally, I don't think they make me feel a ton safer. I've gotten the vaccine and everything, so I feel pretty confident where I am right now.
Here behind me at Brainerd High School, nearly 70% of students were considered chronically absent last school year, which means they missed at least 10% of school days. Today, we explored some of the barriers, including violence, mental health, and poverty that impact student attendance at some of the county's lower performing schools.
Scars that left more than just a physical toll.
I really don't know how to feel about it. It's just like
I can't believe it had actually happened to me.
Still shaken, Essence Ware was one of the women shot on Grove Street this past September.
Sometimes my arm ache a lot, like right now it's aching.
Her injuries kept her out of school for over a month.
And when I went back to school, I did have a lot of catching up to do.
Essence is a student at Brainerd High, where nearly 70% of students were considered chronically absent last school year. That means they missed at least 10% of school days.
But I know some of them go through their health issues. There's probably a reason or something going on at home.
Community violence is just one of the barriers impacting student attendance in some of the county's lowest performing schools.
All schools have issues with chronic absenteeism. What happens in a priority school is you have a concentration of students who are challenged by what causes chronic absenteeism.
Educator and former Howard principal Dr. Edna Varner says these challenges include mental health, poverty, and other factors.
If families are struggling with housing and they're having to move from family member to friend, then children are going to be absent.
Howard senior Amy Shiloh says sometimes her classes are only half full. She says peers miss class for a variety of reasons.
And sometimes they have to, put their family first and work extra hours during school so they can provide for their families.
And she says high student absence rates can take a toll on those still in the classroom, including herself.
There was a point where I did feel like my education wasn't important, and I didn't come to school for at least 2 weeks.
But Amy decided to come back and set an example for others, and she hopes more of her classmates will do the same.
We're the next generations, doctors, leaders. So, education has a lot of impact for a lot of students.
After all, you can't learn if you don't show up. Kim, in order to combat some of these challenges, Dr. Varner says it's very important to continue exploring innovative, hands-on ways to engage students, as well as to ensure all schools have experienced teachers who can keep them interested. Amy from Howard also says it's important to listen closer to student needs and provide more mental health support.